Anybody out there really want to try and argue with my concept of the quickening? Raise your hands, please. Anybody want to argue with that? I have documented in my book exactly what I just talked about. This really is a book that you should have, so I will use this as an opportunity to plug my book. It's in bookstores now nationally, so you don't have to call a number. You can still do that, by the way, but really the easier way to do it now is simply to go into a bookstore and ask for the quickening. And that's what I suggest you do. God, we're getting in frightening times, aren't we? On the lighter side, as I tried to say earlier, and I didn't say it right, to quote some email I got, engineers from NASA have finally, don't forget Richard Hoagland speaking at NASA tomorrow night, engineers at NASA have finally determined the cause for the accident which placed the Russian space station and its resident personnel in jeopardy. In a statement released Thursday, a spokesperson for the agency said, "Our investigation has revealed that the collision between the Russian space station and the resupply rocket was caused by one thing and one thing only. Objects in Mir are closer than they appear." Resist that. And then there is this. Two more weirdo items. This guy wakes up one morning to find a gorilla in his backyard tree. Imagine that, finding a gorilla in your backyard tree. Anyway, he gets his phone book and looks up the gorilla removal service in the yellow pages. The gorilla service guy says he can help him out, but he needs to know if it's a male or female gorilla. So the man runs outside, leaving the phone off the hook, checks it out, and tells the gorilla service guy it's a male gorilla. Service guy says, "Okay, I'll be right over." A short time later, the service guy shows up with a stick, a chihuahua, a shotgun, and a pair of handcuffs. He gives the man some instructions. Now he tells the man, "I'm going to climb the tree, and I'm going to poke this gorilla with a stick until he falls. When he does, the trained chihuahua will attack the gorilla's genitals. The gorilla will then reach for his genitals to protect himself naturally, and that's when you snap the handcuffs on him." Man says, "Okay. Well, what am I supposed to do with the shotgun?" Service guy replies, "If I fall out of the tree before the gorilla, shoot the chihuahua." Saving these up. And today's breaking news from the Associated Press: 3 Yemeni men claim ownership of Mars and have actually filed a lawsuit against NASA for landing on the red planet. And I have their names here, and I wouldn't even begin to try to pronounce them. These 3 men have filed documents in a Yemeni court that they say prove their claim that they own Mars. They said, quote, "We inherited the planet from our ancestors 3,000 years ago." And they are very upset that NASA's Pathfinder spacecraft landed on Mars, their property, July 4th. Now, while I've seen a lot of photographs of Mars, panoramic views, I've not yet seen anything resembling a Yemeni no trespassing sign. Nevertheless, they're upset that Sojourner and Pathfinder began exploring Mars without informing them or even seeking their approval. One has to wonder if the plaintiff's case is granted, what NASA is going to be able to do to satisfy the verdict. Asked for comment, Richard Cook, Pathfinder Mission Manager at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory at Pasadena, said, Mars is everybody's. It's for the whole world to explore and understand. Do you think that is a sufficient defense? West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Art Bell? Well, I have to give you credit. The Men in Black stories were excellent.
Well, as I said earlier, I enjoy doing things that other talk show hosts would not dream of doing, so...
And it goes into the mythical and old-time legends that we've had throughout the centuries. I think the Men in Black has been with us since maybe 2,000-3,000 years ago, since recorded history.
He thought 1,500.
1,500, yes. I think they've been with us a very long time in mythology.
Hundreds of years, at least.
And what I would like to discuss is a previous show you had a gentleman who was going to go into this electric field, 3 million milliwatt electric field.
No. 3 million volts. A Jacob's ladder, improved actually. Madman Markham has not been heard from. He is either by now a total French fry, or he is some time else.
And what I would like to know, is there any videotape of the event, any witnesses, any follow-up stories?
No, and he was supposed to call me and tell me when he was going to scroll through. So.
And has anybody looked for him?
It's a good question, and I don't have an answer. I have looked for him, and I've got the word out, and I'm trying to find out what's going on with Madman, but right now, he's as much of a mystery as the Men in Black.
Well, I hope somebody finds him, and I hope that, at least a follow-up story would be great on your show.
Well, right, but if the guy has gone through, he's either dust or he's somewhere else, some other time. And if he's in another time, then, try and imagine the best. Try and imagine he's, back in 1855, having fun. I can't tell you. I have no answer. And when I do, it'll be on the air. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yeah, Art, it's Vince in Chicago.
Hey, Vince.
The part about the Men in Black where, your guest said that, the Knights of the Apocalypse are working for the Vatican.
Oh, yeah.
I found that really kind of intriguing. What do you think about that?
Well, it made me wonder whether I want to take up this invitation to be able to stroll through the labyrinth 7 miles under the Vatican in the dark catacombs of secrecy. Yeah, and I actually have an invitation to do that. Would you do it?
I think I would, Art. Like you said, you only live once. I would do it. And I know if Malachi Martin asked you, if you wanted to do that, he would arrange it.
Yeah.
I would take him up on that.
This is going to be a very, very, very interesting trip.
Did you ever hear the Knights of the Apocalypse? I never did.
No, but somehow one can absolutely imagine that there is such a group. I don't know if they call themselves the Knights of the Apocalypse. It's certainly a pretty horrifying name. But sure. The church absolutely believes the Antichrist is coming, and I am sure that they have very special groups that are following leads, looking for exactly that occurrence. Of course, I believe it, yes.
And I have a feeling something's up too, whether it's the quickening or whatever. Something's up with the whole alien phenomena that we are experiencing nowadays.
Well, even if you forget that, even if you forget the things that we can't quite explain, like Men in Black and all the rest of it, and look at what they're doing right now with genetics, it's beginning to scare the hell out of me.
That story about the sheep with the human gene, that is really scary.
Yeah, they showed the sheep. You'll see it later today on CNN. Look very carefully at that sheep's face. It has subtle human characteristics, and it's eerie.
It sounds very eerie. All right, how about Phoenix? Has anything happened in Phoenix yet?
Well, we'll get a full report tomorrow night. That's why Mr. Hoagland's going to be here.
I'm looking forward to hearing that. Mr. Hoagland's one of my favorite guests on your program. He's always very interesting, and should be a good show.
All right. Well, I will strangle him until he comes to the point.